Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 255. Today we have Nora Gay, a senior financial strategist at Rise North Capital who believes in utilizing both data and insight to create extreme wealth for families and business. She believes in creating the maximum wealth possible under all any circumstances. Hello Nora.
Hi, Patience. Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody listening.
Thank you for coming. I know the client here is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my client a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own online business?
Oh, absolutely. So I started in market research. Interestingly, there's some sort of connection between research and helping people with their finances. People don't necessarily know that there's a lot of strategy that goes into a solid financial plan. So I began my career doing data analysis in market research for mid-sized firms. And then I decided to attend law school. And following that, I veered off a little bit and I got my master's in finance. And since then, I never looked back. My story, or the reason I started strategizing, is because a good friend of mine endured something that I never want anybody else to endure. Her husband was diagnosed with colon cancer. I know, off to a wonderful start here. He was diagnosed with colon cancer, which is really, really hard as an illness for a family to begin with. And then within 9 months, he passed away, unfortunately. That left her going through the probate process, which took so much energy out of her. And we saw her through the entire process. So we know firsthand how difficult it is, which is why I decided to make sure that this would never happen to anybody that I come across. I wanted to raise awareness, but most importantly, help families plan for uncertainties like this.
Started in finance, you went to law. You didn't like law? You liked finance better?
Oh, I loved it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But there is something that being in the field of finance allows me to do. So it allows me to use a bit of my understanding of legal framework as well as mathematics to help people plan. So when I help plan, I don't just look at the numbers. I also look at your estate and how that's funded and how you pass on the wealth that you build. And you do that with the help of the legal framework, right? With the help of estate planning documents.
What is the most dangerous belief an entrepreneur can have?
Oh, that one is a big one. Every single entrepreneur believes that they're going to make it big in the first time they try. There is this glamour associated with entrepreneurship. We don't really see how hard those who make it work. I don't know if you've ever heard of the idea that you see a swan gliding right on top of the water, but you don't see how fast it's paddling. You don't see how fast the legs are moving in order to glide as smoothly as it is. And that's the most difficult thing about entrepreneurship. In this world that we live, right? We are getting a lot of reports of people doing extremely well. We have the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, drops out of Harvard and makes millions. You have people who are extremely talented, but we don't see that some of those They worked at multiple businesses, sometimes 9, 10, before they grew because before they grew to where they are now. As such, a lot of individuals, they think it's going to be easy, that they're going to fall into entrepreneurship and they're going to make it big the first time. That's the biggest mistake one can make, because it's hard work and it requires a lot of perseverance, a lot of dedication to the work that you're doing. So I guess that's my take, because I have started businesses. Some of them I am not so proud to say have failed, right? But you learn from those failures, and you have to continue carrying on this immense commitment to entrepreneurship in order to see it through. It's not always glamorous.
How have you found entrepreneurship?
How have I found it? I would say that it has been the most difficult thing I've ever done in my entire life. And that's because you wear so many different hats as an entrepreneur. If you don't have the family support, right? The network, if you don't have all of the requirements necessary, then entrepreneurship is going to be an uphill battle. And that's why you'll notice that the most successful entrepreneurs, their average age for the most successful entrepreneurs is about 33. And it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that that's the age. One of it is because at that age, a lot of people are already established in their careers. The second reason might be that they already have a family. So the focus is no longer on trying to date, trying to find a family, trying to find that support, that support or that network that allows them to focus solely on just the craft and providing customers with the best experience possible or the best product or service possible.
But why do you do what you do?
So I do what I do because, as I shared before, my friend's story really impacted me. Prior to implementing financial strategies for people, I was doing financial seminars, and I was doing them free of charge in my community because I saw a need. There is this need for financial literacy in the Black community. And as a Black woman, it was very important to me to bring this knowledge that I was acquiring through my education and through life experiences to better the community. And in the midst of it all, serendipity is such an important thing, right? In the midst of it all, someone came to me and said, Nora, where would you like to be in the next couple of months or in the next couple of years? During that time, my friend is struggling with his colon cancer diagnosis and going through treatment. And I'm in their ears trying to tell them, you need to do your estate plan. This is the time to do it. We want you to be healthy, and we are, hopeful that it will happen, but you need to prepare for the worst. And they said, yeah, we'll get to it. And when this gentleman came into my office asking me where I wanted to be, I told him, I'm forecasting that this is going to be an issue for a friend of mine. I don't know if it's going to be true, right? But I want to make sure that it doesn't occur. And if it does, I don't want it to ever happen to anybody. I don't want young children to be raised in a home that is struggling, right? At the time, my friends had been building a real estate empire. They had over 15 real estate units that they were building. And when he passed away, the wife was left with just 3 units. And the very first month after his death, she nearly went homeless because probate takes a long time if you don't have the appropriate planning done. So I do what I do so that families do not endure something like that if I have anything to do with it.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you are successful in your business?
Sure. Well, you know you're successful when you receive feedback from your customers telling you about how satisfied they are. That's when you know you're successful. It's not just about the numbers, because interestingly, especially with social media as it is, word of mouth reviews are so important that your success is highly dependent on how well you impact somebody's life or how well you impact a customer's life. I had a friend call me and told me, oh my God, for the very first time, I received 5 reviews and they were all 5 stars. And I said, do you know exactly how you got those 5 stars? Do you know what criteria went into making sure these clients were dissatisfied? And she says, yes. And I said, then you can duplicate it. That is success.
But can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
I know we like to think that we can all get up and quit our 9 to 5 and become entrepreneurs. I really do not believe that is true, because it takes a certain grit. The grind is not easy at all. You have to have this ability to accept no and utilize it as a fuel. And you really need to be able to turn that no by using, your objections handlers, turn that no into a maybe and then a yes. Get to the bottom of it, understand people's needs and desires, and provide that value to fit those. There are individuals who are more interested and able to follow instructions. For instance, if you are an engineer, right, and you're used to step-by-step guideline, there's no step-by-step instruction on how to be an entrepreneur, unfortunately. There are people who try to set specific guidelines on how to, for instance, get funding, or how to create a slide deck for investor relations. But there's no guideline to, okay, if you want to start a hair business, this is what you're going to go through, and these are the objections you're going to get, and this is how you handle them. There might be certain individuals who are able to tell you what their experiences have been like, but no 2 humans are the same. So your experience is going to be different. As such, I don't think everyone is cut out for it. Some people are going to be the ones following and receiving instructions and helping you grow, while others are going to be the ones setting the vision, creating the platforms, and creating the host of services to bring the service to people. So I don't think we're all cut out for it. Unfortunately, when we live in a world where we're being told, quit your day job, start a business, start your new gig, I'm here to tell you, I have seen people try their best, but something is just not connecting between providing value to others and them following instructions, because their brains work differently, right?
You've been in business for a long time. You just work 4 hours.
You're going with the 4-hour work week. I have read the book. This is what I tell people. Before you can get to the 4-hour work week, you're going to spend some 60, 70-hour work weeks, because you have to set the tone for the 4-hour work week. You have to set the parameters, right, to have those 4-hour work weeks, or to have that. It's wonderful to get to that place where You don't have to be an employee of the business that you've created. And that's really what I think is the spirit behind the 4-hour work week, is that you don't build the business to be an employee of it, right? You build it so that you can create employment, so that you can grow, you can expand, you can scale. And sometimes setting the foundation takes more than 4 hours. So, no, I don't do a 4-hour work week. I don't do 80 hours anymore either. So I'm finding balance. There is hope at the light at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you. I bought the book. I haven't read it yet.
Give it a read. Give it a read. You might really, really like it.
Thank you. What have you learned from business as a whole?
Well, there are a few things. I have learned that your grit is not enough. You have to have this high level of optimism that things are going to work out, especially as you go through a set of failures, right? Because that'll happen. You have, with the changing pace of competition out there, people are saying, well, in certain industries or certain areas, you'll find that things, there are too many people, right? There are too many people doing this, or there are too many people doing that. As such, the barriers to entry in certain industries are getting a little tighter. So you're going to get a lot of no's. What I've learned is that grit isn't enough. Wanting it isn't enough. You have to persevere. And that comes with optimism. It comes with this positivity, even when things are hard. Being able to draw from the failures or from the mishaps, this extreme positivity in order to keep you going. Another thing that I've learned is that you must forecast. You cannot fail to plan. You have to plan. However, you have to be extremely conservative. Too many times do people come to me with these grandiose ideas only to have, blown out their projections and then hurt themselves and hurt their business in the process because they weren't conservative enough. We must plan with a lot of being very, very conservative.
In your businesses, do you have mentors or coaches?
I do have a business coach. I recommend that everyone gets a business coach. As you start, I think it might be very difficult to actually get a business coach that you see on a regular basis, especially for the entrepreneurs who are starting out. But as you grow, you must get really serious with getting an executive business coach who not only helps you with your personal development and business development, but helps you understand those that you want to serve. So not all business coaches are created equal. So do a bit of research, talk to individuals who have business coaches in the field that you're working, because they all have their sets of expertise. And people think, I'll just get a business coach in any field or area. I might be starting a business in medicine, but here I am. I have a business coach who's only worked with biotech firms. So there might be a slight disconnect there. So yeah, I'm totally behind getting business coaches and getting them and getting yourself ready. Even starting out with a mentor is great.
What is the most valuable thing your mentor or business coach has told you?
The most valuable thing has been the trust equation. And I'm not going to delve too deep into what the trust equation is on the podcast. I will allow your listeners to go and do a bit of research on that. But it's the understanding of it's an actual equation. And it's the understanding of the intersection between what makes people trust you. A lot of it is removing the self from it and providing without thinking about what you're going to get from it, thinking what's in it for me, but really what's in it for the person that you're serving. So that's the most important thing. When we look at value proposition, you're not looking at how much money can I make out of this business venture. You're thinking, what value can I bring to those that I seek to serve? And that has been a game changer for me.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
See the last question. See the last answer. That has been the biggest contributor to my success. And as an advisor, when I sit with a client, I really want to make sure that I'm serving their needs. So I do holistic planning for that specific reason, because I don't want to fit any one of my clients in one small bucket, right? So when someone comes to me, I don't want to provide them with just investment products or services. I want to see what else they have going on in their entire lives. Who else does this planning affect? And from there, we build a plan that serves them, their family, their community, as opposed to us and the potential of getting paid handsomely.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
One thing no one knows about me. Well, now everybody will know, right?
Yes, you have another one.
um, yeah, no, no. One thing that nobody knows about me is that I travel to over 40 countries, and I don't advertise that at all. One of the reasons I travel, and that's probably what nobody knows, is that when I'm looking for clarity, I'm looking for creativity and perspective, I go away and I immerse myself into different cultures in order to gain that perspective. And when I come back, I'm refreshed. I've got new ideas, and I'm inspired and invigorated. So that's one thing I suppose I don't share often with people, but I enjoy traveling, and I do so often.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. So now you can go and create another secret thing. Okay.
I'll create one.
What grounds you?
What grounds me? Family grounds me. Consistency in the home. And, when you are going 100 miles an hour, which sometimes I do, when you're going this hard, you need to come home to something that is consistent, right? Your safe haven. And that's what keeps me afloat, because there are days that are extremely difficult, and there are days that are very successful and productive. You want to come home at any point and be and have the support network where you can share all that is positive as well as all that's happened that's been negative, and find that perspective that you're looking for, or find that ear that you're looking for to listen to your rant for 10 minutes until you can find the solution to the problem.
Let's talk about your book. Tell us more about it, and what made you write this book?
Oh my goodness, I love this. So Get Vented has been on my mind for as long as I could remember. Patience. I really wanted to reach a larger audience than I could being an advisor. So as an advisor in any given year, I touch about 500 individuals, right? But I wanted to do more. I wanted to disseminate the story, and I wanted to teach people about how to build massive generational wealth, and the fact that it doesn't have to be one path and one path only. Get Mented is this millennium's guide to building massive wealth. And that is very close to my heart, because as I wrote it, my motivation was women, empowering women. And I say this because the world of finance has long been dominated by men. They write books like Get Mented, right? They have done seminars. They have given public speeches. But it all seems like it's geared towards men specifically. They control boards, CEO levels. I will tell you, as a Black woman, I entered a multi-billion-dollar company, and I was the very first woman that was Black. So the book, my motivation was not just women, but also Black women, although we won't talk about that specifically in the book, but that was the motivation behind it, right? I wanted to build a platform where women could feel empowered, and the very first step is Get Mented. We are in the process of building the platform now. It'll be launched very, very soon. I can't give you a date yet without blowing our cover, but it is in the process of being built, and it is a place where entrepreneurs, women can be empowered, learn more about their finances, because I noticed another trend that I wanted to help curb. Women are extremely conservative with their investments, more conservative than our male counterparts. And the funny thing is, we have more time on our hands than they do, because historically we tend to live longer than they do. That also means that we tend to need more money than they do. So why are we being so conservative? I cannot tell you. So I want to teach women about these little trends that I've noticed throughout my career, and while doing research for Get Mented as well.
Wow. Okay, you have talked about women, being in the CEOs and on the table. They don't want to be on the table. They don't want to be seen. They want to stay in the backgrounds. But what do you think normally keep women behind?
So what is keeping them behind? I think one of it is the mindset, right? Because your brain is a supercomputer, and what you tell it is the code, right? Is what fuels it, what makes it do everything else. So I think as women, we've had this false idea that men had some secret knowledge about money, about finance. When guess what? We have been the ones making the financial decisions in the homes. I mean, we decide where our kids go to school, whether or not it's paid, right? We decide on healthcare, where to take our kids to, and even our husbands or our significant others, where they ultimately end up getting their healthcare. We decide how much we're going to spend in groceries, which is basic and everyday finance, right? Let's not go too far into clothing, into caring for our kids. So we make those financial decisions all the time. And yet somehow we believe that our male counterparts know more about finances than we do. There is an element of truth there, because we tend to give off the priority or the ability to make the decisions for investing to our male counterparts. But that doesn't mean that we're not making sound decisions. Although some of us don't. But that doesn't mean that we're not making the financial decisions. We should be more imbued. We should be more empowered, and we should know more about finances to make even better decisions for our families. And especially in a community, in our Black communities, we need to learn more about finances in general, and not just women, in general, in order to make sure that we're passing on great wealth and we are doing our succession planning really well.
Thank you. How will your book help people to increase their economic value at this time?
Yeah. So we are in an unprecedented time. The last time the economy was hit as much as it did, say, in March, was when the Black Death was discovered, right? So this is very, very unprecedented, especially for millennials. We understand wealth differently. We don't want to be tied down, buckled down by a lot of different things. And yet we want to try as much as possible. We believe that we're invincible. Nothing can stop us. So my book does several things. The very first thing is that it gives you an advisor's perspective, and not just mine, but it's several advisors' perspective into one book, which is not clearly dispelled or spelled out in the book, but it's there. It's several advisors' perspective on what it takes to build wealth in this millennium. The second thing is that you get your own advisor in your back pocket. Now, when you're building wealth, I do not recommend that anybody does it without the help of a professional. But if you don't have that, Get Minted provides you with your own advisor in your back pocket. You can get the worksheet that's included in there and begin to get your starting point. What does that look like? What is your net worth now? Do you know it? How do you compute it? How do you calculate it? You have that right there in the book. You also have my way of setting retirement goals for our clients. So the same fact find that I use, I have turned it into a worksheet to allow you to do your own fact find. The only thing that I ask is that you be honest with yourself, because your plan, your financial plan, is as accurate as the data that you use to create it. So if you're operating with some level of dishonesty with yourself, then that's going to show in your plan, right? So that's the second thing that you get from the book. The third is my promise that if you implement some of the guidelines or some of the action steps that are in the book, you will make at least $1 million contribution to your net worth. Now, these $1 million, they will materialize for different individuals differently. It depends on what path you take, but you will at least put $1 million or add $1 million to your net worth if you do follow the steps in the book.
Where can we find this book, and how can we get connected with you?
So the book can be found in all major bookstores, including Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I think I even saw it at Target, which was really surprising, but really, really fun for me. So it's available online as it is available as it will be available in the bookstores themselves. It is taking them some time to do the printing, but it's out of my hands. I tell everybody it's out of my hands. You can order your copy on Amazon since shipping is free there. I love that. But Barnes and Noble, and it's paperback, so you get to touch it, feel it, and interact with it right in it. I recommend that. Annotate your book, especially books on personal finance.
How can we connect with you?
So I can be reached on Instagram, right? At Nora Gay. And I can be reached at on Facebook as well. Again, Nora Gay. Everything is sort of the same. And then my website is noratheadvisor.com.
Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
So, Clan, there will be more from Nora in a moment. If you are listening on one of the many podcasting platforms rather than my website and you are encouraged by Nora's journey, go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for bonus portion of the interview. The Online Success Journey is a wonderful membership community built for people searching for the path to success. We are one big clan and you can be part of this community for free. Once you have joined the clan, click on part 2 of Nora's journey or over 200 plus other journeys that are available and learn how you can find the right path for your own online success journey. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Nora.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.